Welcome to the Stranger Still podcast. I'm Kathleen.
And I'm Miles.
And happy Stranger Things Day! On this day, 41 years ago, Will Byers went missing. And today, we're excited to review and speculate on some exciting new teasers for the 5th and final season of Stranger Things.
It will be fun to speculate, but fair warning to all you out there, we're not really the spoilers podcast. If you're looking for spoilers, kind of in the wrong place, check out our friends Starcourt Food Court podcast, the Upside Down podcast, the Ham Radio podcast, Friends of the Pod. There's a lot of great ones out there. We're kind of...
Yeah, we like to stick to the books. We like to just only consume what the Duffer Brothers want us to consume when they want us to consume it.
What did you say last time? The school children?
The well-behaved school children of Stranger Things. That's the podcast we are.
That's us. Yes, but we did get some tidbits for season 5, namely the confirmed time jump and the titles of each chapter.
Super exciting.
Of season 5. But, you know, in our humble opinion, speculation is fine, but get ready for a rewatch too. I mean, it's Stranger Things Day. You should have already been
rewatched at least a couple times. Come on.
You should at least be to Holly Jolly by now.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, or I guess you should be through the first season. You should be popping in Mad Max by now if you started this morning.
Dang nabbit.
I encourage you to go check out our previous podcast. We've got an episode by episode breakdown. We also have a rewatch that we did last year, 2023, which I really like, which was character by character. And we just kind of followed the perspective of each of them across the same story, of course.
Yeah, and might I say, if you're going to do the rewatch, watch an episode, listen to our podcast, watch an episode, and you can just kind of follow us along that journey.
Okay, let's fling this thing like a Hot Wheel.
All right, let's fling it. So for those of you that have not seen it yet, the Duffer Brothers released a new teaser today that gives us the name of each and every episode of season 5 of Stranger. Oh man, I'm the worst. Chapter of season 5 of Stranger Things. But that's not what's got me most excited. What I'm most excited about is we now have a timeline. We know what the time jump is going to be from the end of season 4 to the start of season 5. How exciting is that?
I'm pumped. The rest, it's really just that and the titles, right?
So I mean, that's it. That's all we got. Just this tiny little snippet. Yeah. But I'll take it. I will take any morsel.
We're still waiting on the big trailers and stuff like that. But hey, and we know it's coming in 2025, so we're gonna get those, and you know the podcast will be on.
Oh, absolutely. Make sure to tune in anytime you hear any sort of whisper of something new to be released by the Duffer Brothers. We're here to report.
We are here to report. So since today is mostly about titles, let's talk about those titles. And let's go back. What's your favorite title of the previous 4 seasons?
Well, there were, I think, a total of 34 episodes between all 4 seasons. Gosh, I don't know. I guess my favorite, I'd have to go with something from season 1 because that's when all the excitement, when we first got all the excitement of the Upside Down. Mm-hmm. I think my favorite overall would be Holly Jolly because I mean, if I'm looking at the names of the episodes now, every episode name just incites memories from that season.
Seeing it for the first time.
Yes. And one of my favorite episodes was Holly Jolly. One of my favorite moments was when Holly is standing in front of the wall and it like pushes out, the Demogorgon is pushing out as if to get her as she's surrounded by all of these Christmas lights. It's just like such a visual picture feast that's imprinted in my brain as like one of my favorite memories from season 1, really. So, yeah, that's my favorite. What's yours?
My favorite is the episode before that. So it's interesting. We're both staying within the first 3 episodes of the entire season. But The Weirdo on Maple Street, to me, is like the obvious best title.
Oh,
it's like perfect. It's like
meh.
we don't know who this girl is, but we know she has some superpowers. She's just in 80s like kid language. She's just a weirdo, and it's set sort of like a suburban 80s sugary, Maple Street. It's like The Weirdo on Maple Street. It's very Stephen King, which is what kind of got me into the show. My runner-up would be Battle of Starcourt. I like anything Battle of.
Yeah.
And the fact that the setting was the neon lights of the Starcourt Mall.
Well, that leads well into, I would say, what my runner-up is, which is from season 4, The Massacre at Hawkins Lab. And that is because, obviously it's a huge episode, but I like that it brings us back to season 1 where it all began.
Yeah.
So, yeah, those are our favorites. What's your least favorite? It's hard to pick a least favorite.
I know. I was like trying to, I think E Pluribus Unum, it's just like too clever. It means one united all or whatever. It's on our currency here in America. That one wasn't really, I feel like that's the one that I would give if I had to give a least favorite, which I do.
Okay. Well, I have one. It's hard to say it's my least favorite, but it's just something that I'm angry about. And if you've listened to our podcast, this is something that's bothered me. It's The Lost Sister, because it gave this whole aspect of Stranger Things was like this exciting new twist. Like, when is this lost sister going to come back? Now that we've seen everything and we have not had her come back in any capacity, I'm like, what's up with this lost sister? What was the whole point of it?
She was a foil for 11 to show where 11 could have ended up had she not had the loving and support structure of Hopper and Mike and Max. So Callie is what 11 would be if not for all of the love and support she gets.
Yeah, but so they're just never going to bring her back? That's
I feel like you speak for the fan base.
Okay. I would love, and I've said this before, I would love to see her come back for season 5. I think that would be so cool.
I think more people are with you than me on that. I like how your choices here are really about the episode. You can't separate the title from the episode.
I really can't.
I have one runner-up on least favorite, which was the monster and the superhero in season 4, because we already have an episode called The Monster in season 1. So I don't like that.
I love how it's so opposite of how I picked my favorites and least favorite. You were literally just about the title.
The monster and the superhero comes from that speech that Owens is making at the diner to 11. And you know what he says in that speech that would be a much better title? He says, I'm willing to bet you are one of the good ones. That's what it should have been. One of the good ones. I don't know. You know what?
Yeah, that implies that there are many of her, and there's only one 11.
Yeah, and it doesn't really tie into her doubt about being one of the good. I humbly take my writer's hat off and set it upon the mantle and shrivel out of the Duffer Brothers room, begging their forgiveness.
You took the words right out of my mouth.
All right, let's talk about what we discovered in this little teaser trailer here, and like you said, the thing that you're most pumped about, the time jump.
Yes, let's start with the time jump. Okay, so first off, I'm obviously super excited that there is a time jump, and it's a decent time jump.
Yeah. So how long is it? Okay, so what is it exactly?
It's a 20-month time jump.
Okay, April 86 to fall of 87.
Fall of 1987. One last adventure begins. Why not just make it 88? They'd be seniors. Come on, they're almost adults. They are adults in real life. Okay, that's my first nitpick.
Yeah. You wanted more of a time jump.
I think there should have been more of a time jump, and I want to be why not do that? That seems so dumb to me. However, it could totally make sense within season 5. Maybe there is a specific reason they only jumped that far.
Yeah. So what did you say it was their junior year?
Yeah, it would be the start of their junior year.
Okay, so that's what it currently is. So if it was one, they could do 2 time jumps. We got to see them graduate. We got to get to.
Oh, you think
we could do like volume 1 is fall of 87 and volume 2 is like, I mean, that could happen.
Whoa. Okay. That's not even something that occurred to me at all.
But I think just thinking about like, they're not going to end it while they're juniors in high school. So you saying that made it seem like they got to get one more year out of it. They're not going to end it in their junior year.
I mean, that did not even occur to me. I think that's such a good point.
Thank you. Like, it's my first one of the episode.
Why wouldn't we go into this without like watching them graduate? It's like finishing. Not only are we finishing Stranger Things, but they are finishing their childhood.
Yeah,
it just makes so much sense. We
got to hear that music.
Oh. I hate to say this out loud.
Actually, that song might not be out yet.
I think you're brilliant.
Oh, okay. I'm copy and paste that.
Okay, so
I was just going to say, some people are saying like this time jump is too long. Some people are saying like 20 months. What are they doing about the crack for 20 months? Like, that's some buzz on the internet. They're like, what are they doing?
I mean, I think they create a new normal in their life.
Yeah.
The crack is just there. Like an active volcano waiting for it to erupt.
Yeah.
You never know what's going to happen, but you still have to move on with your life.
But the military has it in hand. We've said this so many times, but as long as they have one flamethrower, they're fine. Because Eddie was saved by Murray, right? Mm-hmm. The bats came off of Eddie. The vines came off of Nancy because Murray in Russia flamethrowed the Demogorgons. So as long as the military has one flamethrower, they're going to be fine.
Do you think, I mean, this is speculation. It has nothing to do with the titles, but do you think that particular thing is going to be addressed in season 5? Like Vecna will find a way around that?
Yeah. Oh, I think the hive mind is the problem. And I think Vecna has to figure out a way, or the Mind Flayer, they have to figure out a way to separate themselves from being flamethrowed once and being defeated.
Yeah, and I have to say, please don't judge us too hard.
Yeah.
If we watch season 5 and we're like so off.
Don't even listen to this after season 5.
We don't claim to be experts.
Yeah.
I mean, we are not the writers.
Can I just say one more thing about this like little blurb?
Oh, absolutely.
The one last adventure begins. I love that. I'm so glad it's not like the climactic end or like the saga will finally reveal itself. Like it's one more adventure. We've had 4. Let's have one more. Because I do think of these as big movies. They aren't seasons. We say season, but they do not call them seasons. Yeah. They call this Stranger Things 5. Yeah. They don't call it Stranger Things Season 5. I just like, that's a nice little touch. One last adventure begins.
And it's, I mean, kids, that's what they do. They go on adventures. You don't really do, I mean, I guess adults and books go on adventures, but it's more of a childlike thing.
Yeah, I love it.
All right, so let's get into the episodes. Episode number 1, The Crawl, which we already knew the name of this episode. Yep. Almost 2 years ago.
Wow.
So we did an episode on January 1st, 2023, reviewing The Crawl and what this could possibly mean. Now, you went back and listened to that.
I did.
Let's just give us a little refresher.
I thought it was I saw The Crawl, so I said The Crawl would be like kind of the Army's name for a killing floor, basically. Like we were kind of just discussing. Like they're keeping that active volcano at bay by just killing everything that slowly comes out of it. They're working shifts, you know? Like, oh, I got my shifts down on The Crawl. Like that's what I was thinking is. You said you thought of a spider egg sac exploding with a bunch of little spiders crawling out.
Now listen, I don't know what I was thinking when I suggested that, because when you told me that, because I haven't gone and re-listened to this, I have no recollection of making that guess at all.
Did.
I don't know where it comes from. And I'm trying to think, like, why did I think that? But it did bring me back to, I think, was it season 1 when they go into the upside? No, it was a different season. They go
about the eggs.
Into the upside down.
That is season 1. That's the finale of season 1.
Okay. There is an egg there, and that's never addressed.
Yeah.
At any point through any of the other seasons of Stranger Things.
We've never come back to that. You're right.
So maybe that's what I hooked onto. I don't know the spiders though, because there's never really been spiders in Stranger Things. There's been like the big monster, the Flayed.
Yeah.
But not spiders. And it would make more sense if like a Demogorgon or a Demodog came out of the egg. So I don't know.
I reserve comment. I think it was the eggs. The eggs should be resolved. I hope they will be. I don't want to get in like a situation like I was in Lost, where I expect every single thing to be resolved.
Right.
But,
I mean, so
they seem like they were Demogorgons being born out of those eggs.
So we did this episode nearly 2 years ago.
That's crazy.
And this is what we thought at that time. But now that we have the name of each episode, have your thoughts changed at all on what the crawl could mean?
No, I still think it's some sort of like place that the military is like has to have a shift on. I think it's still the same. If anything, it's reinforced my certainty that that's what's happening.
Okay. Well, I think I probably err more on your thinking on this. I don't necessarily think it's a specific place, but I think it's like the slow march towards what's to come.
Yeah. I mean,
basically.
Vecna, when he is shot in the chest twice with a shotgun from Nancy and he lands in the yard in the upside down, he crawls away. So he's got to crawl back. It could be a reference to Vecna.
Okay, it could. Yeah, I don't know. We really have zero idea.
I know, and this is a 2-year-old title that we're talking about right now. We got fresh titles to talk about.
Yeah. So speaking of fresh titles, the first fresh title we have, episode number 2,
chapter number 2.
My goodness, golly, chapter
Just being funny.
2, the vanishing of blank.
Redacted.
I mean, holy mac. Like, what could that mean? The vanishing of who?
So, it seems like the internet is expecting this to be Holly Wheeler.
Okay. And when I saw that, I was like, the light bulb went off. I thought, oh, that would so make sense.
It would. It would give us a sense, like, I don't know, how old is Holly in fall of 87, but I think she's probably about Will Byers' age when he goes missing in season 1.
Right.
We know she's been recast. She was in the first look. That would give us a feeling of season 1 too, if that were to be the case.
Yeah.
So I hope it's Holly Wheeler. I like that the town is engaged in another missing person, another missing kid. And this time there's some opinions about Satan being involved and, all the stuff that they have in the satanic panic. And there's probably some other aspects there and
right.
Just tiredness of all the tragedies that have been happening in the town. It's going to be the same, but different. And I feel like it's a perfect connection between season 1 and 5.
Yeah, because like you look at her, she's like the young, the pure child. She's always embodied that throughout the season. She's just like angelic almost in her cuteness.
Yes.
Like she really is the perfect character to vanish. That would cause uproar in this town again.
Yeah. Who else would we really want it to be? I mean, I was thinking, because the way we saw it was the vanishing of blank Wheeler, because someone, at least says they got a leak that it was Holly Wheeler. I don't know. Go back and look at the leaks of season 4.
Yeah. When you said
a lot of them were wrong.
When we saw that, I initially thought like Mike. Okay, it's Mike.
Ooh.
But I don't think that would make for a good storyline because it's like instant vengeance feelings from 11 because they're in love. It's too.
You don't want to kidnap Mike. He's got powerful friends. Being 11, you're right.
Gall darn right, I'm right. So I don't know. I don't really have any other speculation. I have thought like it could be it could be more of an unknown person. Like, it doesn't have to be somebody that we specifically know.
Yeah.
But it did make me think the actress that's coming in from the Terminator,
Linda Hamilton,
whoever vanishes, I think could be how she joins the season.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
When I saw Wheeler, I thought, could it be Karen Wheeler?
Oh.
And I don't know how that makes sense. Like, a full-grown adult being kidnapped is not quite the same feeling of season 1, and
but
want that.
What if it's Ted?
What if it's Ted? The vanishing of Ted Wheeler.
That would blow
everyone's
80s
mind.
dad.
Yeah. Oh, man, what am I doing in here?
And we go to the upside down and he's just still sitting in a couch watching TV.
It's the upside down version of his couch that he has found out.
And he's not even aware.
Yeah. He's like, oh, this TV's not working. How come the calendar says November 6, 83?
Oh, man. Well, whoever it is, I mean, it's going to be exciting to find out like how this develops.
Yeah. So it's got to be Holly. I want it to be Holly.
I do too. Now that it's been said, I just can't see it any other way.
Yeah.
All right. Chapter 3, The Turnbow Trap. Now, I have no idea what that means. My first thought is like, I've like literal hunting traps to catch small animals, like, you know, but I don't feel like people trap animals very much anymore.
Yeah.
But it was popular, 100 years ago.
More of an 1890s thing.
But maybe it's like some style. I have no idea. You actually did research into this.
Yeah, so
right?
we did research. I mean, I didn't remember this from the first look that we got in July, but we have seen Turnbow before in one of those scenes, in one of those behind the scenes pictures, or maybe it's the video, whatever it is around them. There is a sign, a bench for Turnbow development and real estate company with like a happy mom and a happy dad and a happy girl. So does trap mean anything in the real estate world? It probably does. Like, you get like trapped in a mortgage, house poor.
Or how to get somebody to buy a house. You trap them into...
This doesn't seem like it's connecting to anything that'll be happening in the 3rd chapter of Stranger Things, but maybe it's like The Lost Sister. We just spend an episode with the Turnbows who are just trying to get a struggling real estate and development company off the ground in Hawkins, Indiana. It's tough.
Well, yeah, this is a very tough climate to sell property right now.
It's really hard. I would love to see how the real estate agents are doing in Hawkins, Indiana. The news is not kind of the real.
We talked about an active volcano, but that would be an easier sell than what's going on.
It would be easier to sell by Mount St. Helens than it would during the satanic panic of Hawkins. So, I mean, it could be something. I really don't know. It feels like the Turnbows maybe are like, because they're pictured there. They look like rich yuppies. So we could, like, maybe they're involved somehow. There is a girl. It seems about Mike and Lucas's age, or I don't know if it was a girl, a boy or a girl, but there's like a family there.
Or maybe she's the one that vanishes.
Oh yeah, the vanishing of Molly Turnbow.
Oh.
No, that's not it.
I mean, it could be. We don't know what it's going to be.
Interestingly, while going down this rabbit hole trying to figure out what the heck Turnbow was, I found out that we know that this episode is directed by Frank Darabont.
Okay.
So he has not directed since 2007.
Oh.
I did not know that. He's been retired since 2007.
It's quite the hiatus.
He is the guy who directed Shawshank Redemption and The Green Mile.
Oh.
So both nominated for Best Picture in the 90s, both Stephen King adaptations.
Yeah, perfect for Stranger Things.
I think he's absolutely perfect. He's probably, he's for sure doing this episode and probably the next one. I'm really excited about that. That's like a big get.
Green Mile has got to be like one of my favorite sad movies to watch.
Oh, man.
I mean,
That's
we
a
could
brutal
see
one.
some amazing things. And after your
side note, but yeah,
like you said about the lost sister, I'm thinking like, okay, maybe a filler episode, but I can't think that now.
There's no way they're doing a filler episode after the feedback they got on the lost sister.
Oh yeah. Oh gosh, that's really exciting.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's move on to episode number 4, Sorcerer. Now this, I don't know exactly what they mean by this. None of us really do, but I think this sounds like it has something to do with Dungeons and Dragons.
I think so. And I did look.
They say specifically sorcerer, not the or like a. So I'm thinking like sorcerer.
Yeah.
It is.
Oh, man. I wrote that. There's the lack of the is really interesting here.
Mm-hmm.
Sorcerer. And I did look up, this is a Dungeons and Dragons thing. Okay. Sorcerers carry a magical birthright conferred upon them by an exotic bloodline, some otherworldly influence, and exposure to an unknown cosmic force. So maybe one of the Turnbows. I'm just kidding.
And okay, you have to refresh my memory because we haven't actually done a rewatch since our last one 2 years ago.
Character by character rewatch.
Last year.
Check it out. I loved going character by character. Check those episodes out.
In season 4, doesn't Dustin mention a sorcerer? I mean, it comes up at some point.
Yeah, because he's talking about generals and stuff, but yeah, he probably does.
I'm pretty sure we even talked about it in an episode. Oh, well,
we can't remember the past episodes. This is why
it's important for you all to go back and listen to our podcast. Tell us if we had this conversation. I believe that we did. Okay. So,
this
I think it's pulling from season 4.
Okay. This would be a great spot for Callie, right?
Yes.
She could be the sorcerer.
Heck yes.
I personally don't think she needs to come back. We already had this argument earlier in this episode, but certainly that brings to mind, she's got powers conferred upon. She's the only one left because it seems like they all died in the massacre of Hawkins Lab. So
clarify, sorcerer is good character or a bad character in Dungeons and Dragons?
I don't know. I don't know anything about Dungeons and Dragons.
Wow.
I just read to you what I looked up on Google.
Please, for all you Dungeons and Dragons fans out there that are listening.
Well, hold. In Lord of the Rings, it does tend to have a bit of a negative tone because the wizards are the good guys, Gandalf the Grey and stuff like that. So yeah, it could be more of an evil thing. But Callie she is a broken person. She's going to kill that guy. She could turn. Vecna could recruit her. He needs an army of sorcerers. I don't know, but I do know that that's going to happen for a fact. For a fact. Write that down, folks. Yep.
All right. So, chapter 5, Shock Jock. Well, this one has to be about Lucas.
Oh, okay, because he's the jock?
He is
plays
the
basketball?
Jock. Oh, yeah. I mean, that was like a part of like a big theme of season 4 was that he was splitting off from the group. He kind of became one of the jocks.
Ooh, shock jock to me means something. Shock jock is a saying for radio personalities in the 80s and 90s who, like Howard Stern and Don Imus and Rush Limbaugh was one of them. Like they were kind of like, they were before the internet.
Okay.
Just saying, before the internet, there were still people trying to make outrageous claims for attention and get clickbait and stuff like that. And they used to be on a thing called the radio. And at that time,
have you heard of it?
At that time, people were saying this is the newfangled tabloids. So from tabloids to shock jocks, we're saying all sorts of stuff just to get attention or political stuff or just wild stuff.
So it's not necessarily sports related. It's
I've
never heard that term before.
You've never heard that shock jock?
This is why we make such a good team.
Yeah. And the Duffers have shared a behind the scenes image of Mike and Lucas riding their bikes away from a radio station, WSK 94.5. So that's kind of why it shot into my head. I didn't just pop that up out of nowhere.
Okay. Well, and obviously you knew the term, and I was totally unfamiliar with that.
So Howard Stern was a shock jock.
Okay. Well, gosh, I feel like anything could happen with that, but at least now we have like a direction of for if any of you are out there are like me and had no idea what that meant, hopefully that kind of gives you, I don't know, some insight of what we could be looking at.
I mean, don't listen to this once season 5 happens, like we said. And I'm thinking even further, like it's like Rush Limbaugh style, like almost like religious, like conservative, satanic panic stuff, like what Jason said in the gymnasium, or not in the gymnasium, in the town hall meeting. What Jason said there about like there's good in this room.
Yeah,
that feeling is going into a very popular local shock jock who's like, and the FBI doesn't say it, but I'm gonna go ahead and say it. We are a cursed town because the devil is here. Like that. I'm seeing a character like that.
I mean, I'm like, look at Murray. I mean, I don't think that he is the shock jock, but like it could be just a fanatic. Like he was considered
Murray's equivalent. Like maybe Murray has a little bit of a rivalry with a radio personality. Goes on. He's a guest on the show. You know how like Fox News sometimes will have like Pete Buttigieg on or something like that.
Yeah.
Like it's kind of a friction there. Like
I know that we talk about not going back and listening, but I really want to after we finally watch season 5, just to see how wrong we were.
Well, my brother and I do a football podcast, and I have gone back and listened to our previews after the season.
And you get everything right.
Let me tell you. Yeah, absolutely. Don't check this, but we got everything right.
Okay, so number 6. So we have 3 more to go. Number 6, Escape from Comatose?
I didn't look up how to pronounce it.
Escape from, we're going to say Comatose.
If you Google Comatose, comes up as a Mayan myth, a bat spirit at the service of the lords of the underworld. And this is also a Dungeons & Dragons thing, very much so. Comatose is the Olman, god of bats and horrible things that fly in the night. I don't like that.
We saw, Miles... He's not a fan. Not a fan of bats.
Not a fan.
And there were a lot of bats in season 4, and he was not happy about that.
I wasn't, but they were on the TV, so I wasn't too scared.
Are you sure they weren't going to fly out and get you?
The god of bats associated with disease and plague.
Well, I mean, they're coming from the upside down. I mean, look how nasty that place is.
So you were thinking this is like someone trapped in the upside down and coming out of there? Like, this is interesting again. That doesn't say the escape of Comatose. Again, a little bit of the gate here. Like almost all the episodes start with the, except for sorcerer, shock jock, and escape from Comatose. Where are the thes? Where are the thes on this middle of the season?
I think it's gonna be like Dungeons and Dragons, where they meet this foe and they have to escape from Comatose. I mean, it sounds like exactly how you explained it from Dungeons and Dragons. Like they're going to get into a situation where they have this huge bat god, and I feel like they won't have the strength at that time to defeat the bat god, and they will have to escape.
Okay, so that's why it's not the escape from Comatose. I feel like they're going to come up with a plan, maybe like. The escape from Comatose is more like a conversation, like Flea and the Acrobat, a conversation where they realize what they have to do. It's also, I mean, the first thing I thought of when I saw this is Escape from Alcatraz.
That's exactly what I was thinking too.
Yeah, so there's like that, and that's a famous Clint Eastwood movie as well. But I feel like, they may be having a conversation about how to get either Holly or Max or somebody, or Molly Turnbow out of somewhere.
Yes. Okay. Right. I mean, as I'm going through this, I'm forgetting that we will have seen the previous episodes and we'll know what happens.
That's why this is getting more and more off the rails, because how do you predict chapter 6, 7, and 8?
When
not knowing chapter 1 and 5.
But you said, it could be that's where Holly is being held in the upside down and they have to escape this huge bat. I don't know. Let's move on to the next one, because
if you're listening.
We are not writers.
Yeah. And this next one, I mean,
the bridge.
I don't know, that could be anything.
I mean, it could be anything. It could be a physical bridge, or it could be the bridge between the upside down and the right side up.
Could also be the bridge of a guitar, the bridge of your nose, the bridge of a song, you know?
Well, we're all about songs and Stranger Things. So
like Beatles' Day in the Life, one of the most famous bridges of all time. Woke up, fell out of bed, I dragged a comb across my head.
That's definitely going to be a part of this.
Or well, maybe more like could be Taylor Swift. What's that song when she's like, my ex-man has a new girlfriend? Like, that's a good bridge.
So music aside, I think it makes the most sense for it to be some sort of connection, bridge, as one might say, between the upside down and the right side up. I think, especially because of the name of Chapter 8, which is the right side up.
A wonderful name.
To end it?
That is so good.
The way it should end. It really makes the most sense for it to be that way. But again, the fact that Chapter 8 is named the right side up makes me think that the bridge has to be how I think the upside down is coming to the right side up. And Chapter 7 is going to be how they get there, the bridge.
I love that. The bridge to me is so it's the blank, the dive, the bite, the spy, the bathtub. There's just so many of those that's I think it's going to be something simpler than what we're theorizing. But that's the fun of theorizing.
Maybe it could have a double meaning. I mean, especially, I know you are all about the music. Miles does a lot of, he talks a lot about the musical aspect of Stranger Things. So go back and re-listen. It's really interesting the way he dives in. But I mean, they could tie music to that. I mean, music is so important throughout Stranger Things. It could also make sense that that's tied in, but I don't think that music itself, the bridge. Well,
I was mostly just joking about that.
I mean, the Metallica solo.
Yeah.
It could be very significant.
I just kind of think, especially about the dive, not every title indicates anything with the plot,
Right.
That's all I was saying. But let's talk about the right side up, because that is a fantastic finale name. Of course, the finale of season 1 was called The Upside Down. Merriam-Webster's dictionary defines right side up in such a way that the upper and lower parts are in their usual or principal position and not reversed. But we know it to mean the opposite of the upside down and the evil place.
I love that you read the exact definition of that from the Webster's dictionary. Yes. But also, I mean, it does apply to that. I mean, we are ending Stranger Things. This will be the final chapter of Stranger Things. And so it makes sense that, first of all, it's right side up. So I think it obviously is the opposite of the upside down.
So do you think this means
also setting everything right?
Yeah. Do you think this is an indication of a happy ending? Things are made right. The upside down becomes the right side up.
I have thought optimistically this whole time. I know some seasons decide not to have happy endings, which I think is absolute garbage.
Other TV shows?
It. Yeah, other TV shows. Okay. But I have always thought that there was going to be some sort of happy ending to Stranger Things. It might not mean that there's not going to be heartache. I mean, we could... Yeah. I don't want anybody to die, and I've talked about that plenty, but somebody could die, and it could be super sad, but I think there will be resolution at the end of Stranger Things.
Okay, and I think so too. I'm wanting my Battle of Endor happy ending moment. The right side up wins.
Yes.
The upside down loses.
Right.
Though...
And the double meaning, the right side up is the world itself.
The real world.
The real world, but it's also how things should be.
Returning to normal, yeah. People have been posting that the finale is very sad. David Harbour did an interview where he said the Stranger Things cast was uncontrollably crying after a table read of the finale, which we now know is called The Right Side Up, in October. So he said the end of the episode, when we were reading it, just us reading it, about halfway through, people started crying. Then in the last 20 minutes, we were all just uncontrollably crying. Waves of different people. So that doesn't sound like we're going to be super pumped. But I don't know. Maybe you're crying out of happiness, too. I don't know.
Listen, though. I mean, the Stranger Things, the whole of it. I mean, all of these actors have been through this entire journey together. Look at Harry Potter.
Yeah.
Their final readings, their final filmings of the final scenes that they film for the movies. It has a happy ending, but everybody cried in that. It's an ending. It's a real ending for all of these actors.
Yeah, so not necessarily indicative of the plot, but it's their working relationship that they're also crying for.
So it could have nothing really to do with total heartache.
I hope so. But one thing that seems like that's a piece of it. It seems like for 2-3 years we've been hearing about
somebody's gonna die.
No, not someone's gonna die, but that people have cried when they hear the ending of the finale. Remember that news article? It came out right before season 4 or something like that, where the Netflix executives were crying.
Oh.
They heard it. The Netflix executives were crying. That always stuck with me.
Damn. Okay, well.
I don't know. Get ready. Get ready, folks.
But it could be beautiful. It could be a beautiful ending,
yes,
too.
it could. So. It could. All right. Well,
that's all we have. Unfortunately, that's the only tidbits we managed to talk about this for 40 whole minutes.
Yeah,
but
what if they had done more?
No pictures, no other sneak peeks. We just have the names and the timeline.
We will wait. We will wait. Season 5 coming up. All right, I'm Miles.
I'm Kathleen.
Okay.